Hey guys, still there. Bit of a different video game today, as we're looking at Afghanistan 11. This is a new game by Slitherin Games, and Slitherin you may know from very in-depth titles such as Command Modern Air and Naval Operations. This is a strategy game that is about to be released by them, and it is something completely different from the normal type of strategy game. This is not a get in there, build a base and kill everything. This is more of a how can I work with the other elements in the environment to find and eliminate insurgents in Afghanistan. Now this video I'm going to take you through a couple of these tutorial missions so you know exactly what to expect and how the game works. And then, potentially in another video, we're going to have a look at the game in a skirmish or along more complex campaign missions to see if this is anything that interests you. So right now, Tutorial 1, Camp Rhino. You always get a nice briefing, and this operation plays out not in 2011, but in 2001. So this is November, just a couple of months after the strikes on September 11th. 2001. As you can see here, after the attacks, the US President and his military advisors concluded that the Al-Qaeda organization was behind the attacks. They also concluded that the attacks would not stop unless the US destroyed or disabled Al-Qaeda. The military offensive operations began October 7, 2001 with intense air and missile strikes, and on November 25th, U.S. Marines expeditions, or U.S. Marines from the 15th MEU, landed at a remote airbase 90 miles southwest of Kandahar. This is that situation. We are Camp Rhino, and this is an FOB, or Forward Operating Base, and we're going to build up this base a little bit further. Now this is the way that it looks. You got all of these hexes, and every now and then you come across something that is of interest to you. For example, we have a small outpost here. This is our FOB. This is the base that you're operating from. The dark area, of course, is a road. You also have a dirt road heading towards another... I think that this is also a FOB, although a smaller one. Anyway, we're just going to follow the tutorial to give you a bit of an idea. As it says, welcome to Afghanistan. Your mission is to win the hearts and minds of the local populace by routing the Taliban, building the nation, and then handing the region back to the Afghan people. So we're not here to just go in, drill all the oil, and get out. That is not the premise of the game. We are here to help the local populace. Tutorial will take you through the basics, etc., etc. Left click on the US infantry unit. That's these guys. Now something that you can see at the bottom left hand is 3 points remaining. This is their action points. Now walking one tile is an action point, so this might resemble you of games like XCOM or Xenonauts, where action points dictate how far you can go. And it is turn based, so in this one turn I can spread out, or I can move 3 tiles, but the next is going to turn a different color, indicating that that'll be another turn. You also have 5 rations remaining. The rations are something that limit the pretty much the endurance of your troops. Not so much in the sense of hit points, but how long can they maintain an operation. Because if these guys run out of provisions or rations, then they're basically going to starve. So we got to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we're going to have these guys move to the flare. That's the first thing. You can see they're out of action points, and once that's done, I need to make sure that I end the turn. Now, as they say, action points are expended when a unit moves or performs various actions. Rations are decreased by 1 point whenever the unit ends a turn outside of the base. So they're about to use 1 ration right now. If they run out, they'll take damage and then be destroyed. So these guys starve pretty damn quick. When they're low, you're going to see a yellow icon, and that's going to turn red. You can see it right there at the bottom. When the unit is completely out and they're about to be destroyed. And action points are replenished at the start of each turn, of course. So now we're going to end the turn. You can see that these guys now have 4 rations remaining, and let's get them to the objective. Here we are. Now, vehicles are another element in the game. You have various different types, and this one is called the AMRAP. This one is mostly an infantry transport vehicle. You can see that this thing has a few more action points. It has 6 action points per turn, but it's almost out of fuel, and that is also an element that you have to take care of in vehicles. Because, like infantry, when vehicles run out of fuel, they just stop. They don't exactly die the way that infantry does, but they do just no longer perform their duties. So, they end a turn outside of a base, and this means that this one is currently not going to be able to make it back to base, because they don't have the range. So we're going to need to do something about that. If they run out of fuel, it will break down, take damage, and then be unable to move until refueled. So they take some damage, but they don't die. Vehicles and helicopters can be refueled and or repaired at the HQ. I just cannot get it there. They can also be refueled in the field by using a supply truck or a Chinook. Now, supply trucks are cheap, Chinooks are a bit more expensive. Supply trucks can run onto an IED and die, Chinooks can't. So you always gotta make the choice, is there going to be an IED threat along this road, for example? You can also get an emergency supply drop. These are a bit more expensive, but can help you out if you are in a very tough spot, or you have infantry so far outside of their normal operating zones that it's going to be very difficult to get a supply truck to them. Click on the emergency supply icon and select the MRAP. The emergency supply icon is up here. We're going to drop supplies over there, but note that that costs 200 points, or 200 political support points. So I'm going to drop it there.
Emergency supplies deployed.
And all of a sudden, a nice box drops right on top of the MRAP, and it's back up to full fuel. As they say, a couple of unit types available: troop transports, supplies, fuel, and ammo. Additionally, there are specialist vehicles that can perform specific tasks. The MRAP is providing for infantry transport mostly. It's just I suppose you could call it a Humvee type variant or something like that. It's probably an entirely different vehicle, but I think that a Humvee, especially if you're coming from Wargame, makes the most sense. So select the MRAP and then click the load action or load unit action button. That's this one. With it, you can get the infantry inside. All you need to do is click on the infantry. The vehicle will drive off, move to the infantry, pick them up,
Copy that.
and now the infantry is going to be a lot more mobile than when they were just going to be moving. Now, click and hold mouse 3, or move the mouse to the edge to pan the screen around the map. You can also do this with the WASD keys, but the game doesn't quite say that. To center the view, select the HQ shortcut on the command bar. In the top left of the screen, I believe that is this one. With it, you can order a whole load of new units. I currently don't have anything garrisoned, but that's about to change. For now, they won't let me do that because it's still a tutorial, so I need to exit the headquarters and first get that thing back to base.
Affirmative.
So we're going to end the turn, and the vehicle is now coming back in. There. Unit movement ranges also vary per terrain type. Roads and highways give the best range, of course. The vehicle doesn't have to struggle through the mud and the dirt. Roads and highways give the best ranges, and mountains, rivers and lakes are inaccessible to some units. Helicopters are the exception. They can move. Click on the HQ to view the garrisoned units. Now, we now have the Alpha Squadron, that's the MRAP, and the Alpha Company, that's the US infantry group that I picked up earlier. And as the game says here, whenever a unit ends there, so it ends inside a fob or in a command, you don't actually lose any supply, or you don't actually lose any fuel or rations for infantry. Moving on. HQ is the only place where you can get reinforcements. Those cannot be acquired anywhere else. HQ is basically the command of an entire region, so it's not like you're going to build an FOB and then start recruiting infantry from there. It's very important because it indicates that you need to plan ahead. So we're going to go to the reinforcement tab. We're going to get a Buffalo. Now what a Buffalo does is build things. Constructs FOBs, constructs FOB extensions, repairs bases and vehicles, build roads and waterworks, repairs them, and they can take some damage from IEDs, but hopefully not too much. They cost me 500 points to buy, and they cost me 2 movement political points. So even moving a unit is going to cost you points. So let's get one of those. That's going to be Bravo Squadron. And as the game is informing you here, it's an engineer, used to primarily construct and repair stuff. And of course we can switch names. Well, that's not something we're going to be doing right now. Switch back to the Garrison tab, which is where we are at the moment. And select the degarrison, that's the exit arrow, to degarrison the Buffalo. So we're going to degarrison this guy. Then I want to have a road so that the command section or the command base, the HQ, has a road connection, allowing for a bit faster movement. So you click the road icon, you click to where you want to build the road, and the Buffalo is going to be happily building a road, making access a bit easier. Now take note that it is a dirt road, it is not one of those nicely tarmac roads, but it works all the same. Player can get a strategic view of the area by clicking the intel map. You can see that top left here. This is going to give you a lot more information about the whole area. Of course, the mission briefing is up there under the command tab. The command mission currently is just complete tutorial objectives. Easy. Numbered bar at the bottom is the timeline. Now I'm right now in turn 3. This thing runs till turn 10, but of course if you have a campaign or a skirmish, this can run up to turn 60 or whatever you decide. Gives you basic information on upcoming important events to keep an eye on. The tabs at the bottom are staff officers, and that is this one, personnel. Sometimes this tutorial is not the best, but it is personnel, of course. So with personnel, you can see how many people I have. We have ANA, which is the Afghan National Army. Training time is 3 turns, so training them up is going to take a bit of work. Other tabs, civil affairs, give you information about the current political climate. Are there any conflicts? Someone being intimidated? All sorts of stuff that considers the civilians. Intelligence gives you information about, or gives you the intel that's been gathered. Currently we have no enemy activity, nice and quiet region. We have no enemy engagements. So far we haven't suffered any casualties, but neither have they. Political liaison, nothing going on there, and the command tab is basically your objectives. Click on the eye icon for the command. Now we do see a little bit more once you click that icon. You get very clear regions of what we have. Command HQ and a couple of fobs. Every new turn commences with the new intel map being displayed. Left clicking anywhere on the map will instantly take you to the corresponding region. So if I click here on Bravo, I'm instantly going to be looking at the Bravo fob that we have. In addition to the HQ, fobs can be built by the Buffalo, primarily extend supply lines and enable construction of specialist structures. And using the Buffalo, we're now going to construct a fob, and we're going to do that in the Alpha Zone, which is a little bit to the north, right here. So we're going to take that thing. We're going to start by building a fob, a forward operating base for 1,500 points. These things do not come cheap. We're going to go there. Unfortunately, I already used it a bit this turn to build the road, so we're going to end the turn. And now the game is going to protest that some units don't have orders. That's correct. That's the guys that are garrisoned inside the HQ. So you can usually safely ignore that. Now, if the vehicle would like to start moving, that would be wonderful. Here we go. Again, it cannot quite make it. So we're going to end the turn. Yes, I don't need the other units. And it has built me another fob. Click on the fob, you will see a list of all garrisoned units. All fobs come with an M120 mortar, primarily for base protection and short-range fire support. That's the only thing I have garrisoned here. Charlie Company, which is a mortar group. Fobs are supply depots and hold supply stock which is used upon actions. A fob can carry a max of 5 supply units and is replenished from the HQ with a resupply truck or a Chinook. A fob can resupply infantry within a 5 hex radius, so that's the radius that you can see there. This will increase the infantry rations to 5 and costs 1 unit of supply or it costs 1 unit of supply stock from the fob. So the fob can supply, but then the fob itself will need to be supplied, otherwise it's going to run out. This is not some sort of automatic supermarket that you can keep getting your food from. Infantry stats, or infantry units that are about to run out, blah blah blah, are of course red, or yellow and then red. Fob can be extended to have a maintenance yard, field hospital or artillery pit. You can build any number of these. So with these additional tiles, what I can do is build, for example, 6 artillery bases if I really wanted to. The artillery pit enables the deployment of a howitzer, maintenance, repairs and refuels vehicles and helicopters, and the field hospital allows for healing of wounded infantry. So now we're going to build a field hospital next to the fob.
Copy that.
It's another 1,000 points, but now you can see that the fob is being expanded. The sandbags have been drawn around, and now we have a field hospital. Units are destroyed upon receiving 2 hits. This is, if you're coming from Wargame, quite a shock, because normally you have hit point bars. That's not so much what these guys have. They only take 2 hits, and if you can get them back to a repair area, so a maintenance yard or hospital, then you fix that. To heal an infantry unit, simply move it onto the field hospital and keep it there for 1 turn. It's going to cost you 1 supply stock from the fob. It's critical to get them there as quickly as possible. If they remain injured, it's basically, and this is not what the game is saying, it's basically bad for your publicity. People back home don't like it if you leave their soldiers wounded in the dirt, so we're not going to do that. You gotta get them back. So we're going to get these guys onto the hospital, which they cannot quite make. Path is obstructed thanks to the MRAP, or sorry, the buffalo that's in the way. So we're going to have to get the buffalo out of the way and then get the infantry into the hospital. I'm going to end their turn there, and now they are back up to full health. As the most efficient way to supply fobs, supply stock is used by supply truck. It is advised that they are connected to the highway. Select the buffalo and get the road construction going. So we're going to connect the fob to the road,
Copy that.
spending another 2 points there. Now, this one is starting to run out of fuel. So this is going to need a bit of supplies, otherwise it cannot continue to carry out its duty. You can see it already gets the supply can warning, low fuel. Click on HQ, go to reinforcements and press supply trucks. So we're going to go right here, we're going to get a reinforcement, a supply truck, yes I want one. We're going to de-garrison the supply truck. And you can see vehicles and helos can be resupplied or refueled at the HQ with a repair yard extension, or by having fuel delivered from any base using supply truck or helo. What I want to do now is pick up a specific type of cargo. So what I want to do now is deliver fuel, and I want to deliver fuel to my about to be stranded buffalo. So it's on its way, and there we go. Buffalo is resupplied. Now this is not exactly what the game had in mind, because what it wants me to do is use the supply truck to pick up supplies and then deliver those to the fob. Select the buffalo, build a maintenance yard in the fob next to Bravo Zone, southwest of the HQ. That is right here. So we're going to build a maintenance yard, and we're going to do that right there.
Solid.
End the turn, confirm, continue. I'm going to get this one back to the base, because it might need to take on new fuel once it's there. Buffaloes burn fuel like crazy, because they're usually always... Ugh. The game is sometimes a bit wonky with your controls. Gotta be honest about that. It is something that I don't particularly like. Sometimes you're a bit confused. Also, full disclosure, this is a key that was provided to me by Slitherin, so I didn't actually pay for the game. They asked me to have a look at it, review it, and if I think it's any good, please cover it on the channel. I think it's an interesting game, and that's why I'm covering it right now, because it is different. It forces you to think a bit more political than the pure call in airstrike, bomb this target, build a tank, and win the game, pretty much. Anyways, when a fob is first built, it starts with a supply stock of 3. and the corresponding number of supply crates are shown. Now I gotta make sure that I don't have this thing selected.
Moving out.
See, there we go. Unselecting units is a pain in the ass at the moment, or I just don't understand it, either of those two. I didn't mean to get the supply truck out of the building,
Copy solid.
but because I still had it selected, and right-clicking apparently does not deselect it, it's a bit wonky, and you can get your units into trouble. Anyways, what we have here is 3 out of 5 supplies. So what we need to do is resupply this base. A fob holds a stock of supplies used to heal, repair, ration, refuel, etc. All units garrisoned at the fob at the end of the turn will have their rations increased by 1 without using any supply stock from the fob. With the supply truck back in the HQ, load up the fob supplies and deliver them to the fob. So we're going to have to wait a turn. The supply truck is going to merrily make its way back. There you go. We're going to de-garrison the guy, and we're now going to supply, deliver ammo, aid, resupply fob. So you click there, and then you click him right there. And that's going to take 2 turns, I think, before the thing actually gets there. If it, like, even wants to get there.
Affirmative.
You can see that the cargo icon has changed. It was a big fuel icon, and now it's something different. Now it's more of a supply stuff. We're gonna offload this thing. It needs to resupply the fob there. And once again,
Roger.
this is what I don't like about the game. Anyway, fobs cannot be built in close proximity to villages nor to other fobs, so it's not like you're going to build a row of fobs. It wouldn't make sense. It would be too much of an investment. So choosing the ideal location is paramount. Use the Buffalo to build a fob at Charlie, that is east of the HQ. Unfortunately, we're out of fuel. So what I'm going to do is send the supply truck back, pick up fuel, and deliver the fuel to the Buffalo. But the Buffalo cannot do anything. Collect fuel. Let's end the turn. You are now carrying fuel. Excellent. Deliver the fuel to the Buffalo. There we go. Buffalo is now back up to full fuel. It's going to be a long drive for him.
We're Oscar Mike.
And because he's going to be out on the way for so long, I'm going to again use the supply truck. So we're going to collect fuel and then de-garrison the thing and basically have it follow the Buffalo around to make sure that the Buffalo can keep going. It's a bit like fighting with an arm and a leg tied behind your back, but this is the situation as we have it. So we're going off again. By the looks of it, we also need to heal up this thing. It's been damaged. Anyways, we're going to build another fob right there. And the turn. No, okay, we're going to bring you along.
Copy solid.
Moving, end the turn, correct. Moving up. And he just spawns another fob. Or he should.
Roger.
There we go. There's the fob. Then we're going to take the supply truck and once again resupply the Buffalo. And the turn. Now we have another fob. This is going to be Charlie fob or Charlie base or whatever you want to call it. And what we're going to do here is build an artillery unit. We first need to build an artillery pit before we can do that. So artillery can be only transported by supply truck, Black Hawk or Nook. Use the Buffalo to build an artillery pit. And I believe that that is this one.
Copy that.
And now we have an artillery pit, we just don't have the artillery yet. We also need to connect it back to the road. Unfortunately my supply truck's in the way. And see now, I would like to select the fuel truck.
Copy solid.
There you go, he's full, and now we can build roads. You are in the way.
Affirmative.
And turn.
Affirmative.
Build the bloody road. Stop countermanding my orders. Okay, time to get a helo in game. Helos are expensive to operate, but very effective. Because of course they don't have to stick to roads to get the maximum out of their usefulness or out of their movement. They can just fly over anything that they like. I'm going to click on the HQ.
Copy that.
And of course, because I had the Buffalo selected, the Buffalo now thinks it needs to get back to base. Which is not necessarily the case.
Copy that.
We're going to acquire a Black Hawk, and we're going to acquire a howitzer. Now, the Black Hawk can load the howitzer. And the Black Hawk is going to be effectively an airborne supply truck. I think that's a bit short, but okay. Use the Black Hawk to transport the artillery to the artillery pit. Now once again, just like we did with the other guy, with the Alpha Squadron MRAP, we're going to pick up a unit, and that's going to be the howitzer. Now it's loaded, we can de-garrison the Delta Squadron. There's my nice little helo. Fly it off to the pit there. And you can see it's actually hovering a artillery unit over there. Drop it off right there. And now we have an artillery base. Artillery enables long range and powerful fire support and can be directed at enemy targets only. No friendly fire, please. Artillery and mortars do not consume rations or fuel, but they do require ammo. Artillery can be only resupplied with ammo delivered to the pit from the HQ via a supply truck, Black Hawk or Chinook. So, as much as these things are nice to use, they do require ammo. That, once again, becomes a logistical nightmare. Because then you have to make the choice, okay, I want to use artillery. Do I have enough ammo? Or is there any quick way for me to resupply the ammo once I've fired it? Next tutorial will explain the basics of detection and combat. So, what we're going to do is load up the second campaign. And I got a fantastic decisive victory on the tutorial. So now we're going to be using that base a bit more. We're going to go into Tora Bora mission. And operation is taking place a little later. The one that we just did was November. This is December. Early December, the CIA Special Activity Division and Special Forces units successfully coordinated with local resistance groups and militia in a ground campaign against the Taliban. Anti-Taliban forces now controlled every major city in Afghanistan, and the Taliban and Al-Qaeda fighters were forced to retreat into the mountains of Tora Bora. The CIA had pinpointed Osama bin Laden's exact location in the mountains after he had spent a few seconds too long on his radio, but less than 100 Special Forces units were sent to find him. Sometime between December 6th and December 17th, Osama bin Laden, along with hundreds of Al-Qaeda and Taliban operatives, escaped into Pakistan. What we're going to do now is gather intel. This is another important aspect of the game, and this is where we're going to be, for the first time, interacting with, let's say, non-player characters or non-player elements. What we're going to do is try and get intel on where the Taliban is, because you can see that we have a very sizable mountain ridge here, and I can start combing it with infantry, but it's going to take me forever. And I don't even know if I'm going to find them. So what we're going to do is use the infantry group that I have here, and we're going to move them to this village.
Moving out.
The village is now going to give me some intelligence. It's going to give me some information on where they know that the bad guys are. You can only gather it from a village with a burning fire. Now, the fire's now gone because I got the intel. And it's going to be reignited a couple of turns later as the town gains new intel. So visiting towns frequently does help. When visiting a village with a burning fire, the hearts and minds score of the village is also marginally increased. Now, unfortunately I cannot see that in this window. So I would expect that to be here. Not there, not... well... yeah, we know that there's one enemy Taliban cadre, but nothing else. So this is something that the game doesn't quite explain very well. Whenever a village is visited by an infantry unit, the flag is updated to reflect the current allegiance. So this works both ways. Sometimes you're going to have Taliban going into your town, and then the town is basically going to switch sides. If successful, intel gathered from the village will reveal enemy locations. The revealed enemy unit will remain detected for the duration of the turn. So we can see that they were here, and now they moved off. Infantry units have a detection range, and this is indicated by the highlighted hex pattern. So if we move these guys up a bit more, they're going to be able to find the bad guys again. Whenever infantry units are embarked, the detection range is limited to 1. So let's say an infantry unit is normally able to use binoculars, they won't be able to do that from inside a vehicle. Makes sense. Player can also use the recon drone, and that is this thing. Cooldown is 3 turns, and we're going to scan the area that is indicated by the hex. As you can see, as I'm moving my cursor around, we can still find more and more about the region, or we can dictate exactly where this drone is going to scout. So, the vicinity of the last known enemy. This is the flare, although it's barely visible, at least for me, thanks color blindness.
Eyes on Taliban.
And there they are. There are the bad guys. To engage in direct combat, move your unit into the hex occupied by the enemy unit. So we're going to take the infantry group. You can see that they have a 100% chance to win, and we are going to engage them.
Copy that.
It's going to take me 2 turns, which of course is going to also impact my rations, because I'm getting too far away from the base.
Target eliminated.
Target is down, and that got me a few points. When engaging in combat, certain modifiers will appear, or will apply. Terrain, weather, proximity to friendly forces, and health. When the mouse pointer is positioned over the enemy, and like I just said, you have a 100% chance to win. Engage the enemy. Done. And the turn. Do not tell me that the game is so confused by me already completing this
Roger.
that... yeah. The game doesn't understand that I already completed the kill there. So what I need to do now is just move these guys back.
Moving out.
Problem, we don't have any supplies left. So what I'm going to do is just airdrop some rations to them. Otherwise they're going to starve before they get there. And there is still move unit back to HQ in the top left, so hopefully the game understands that that is the thing that I need to do right now. And the tutorial will continue once it's done. Move,
Copy
damn it.
solid.
I don't want to have to do another airdrop in your location.
We're Oscar Mike.
Resupply the unit. Okay, militia commence their operations from caves, randomly positioned in the mountains. Caves are never visible to the player, but their location can be triangulated using the Intel SO, which is the Intel Signals Officer, I think. We know that there might be some caves here. Once you get the eye vision or the eye icon, you can see that there is something just popping up on the map. Militia units are always disbanded after combat, regardless of the result, and are destroyed after taking 1 hit, so they're pretty easy to kill. Taliban units commence their mission from the eastern side of the map, the Pakistan border. They move towards their objective, complete the mission, and then disband. Should a village change allegiance towards the Taliban, future Taliban missions will commence their missions from the militia cave if closer to the objective than the Pakistan border. So, in English, if they have a friendly town somewhere, then they will pick a cave that's close to that town, instead of having to come all the way from the Pakistani border. Taliban units are either destroyed or retreat following combat. They are a bit more difficult to kill. They take 2 hits instead of 1. They retreat eastwards and then resume their original mission. And of course, yes, we're running low. This is something I already did.
Moving out.
So Now, they're now resupplied magically. I didn't actually use this turn, but whatever. The infantry unit is now resupplied and can continue operations in the field for a number of turns. The probability of receiving intel from the village depends on the current level of support. The higher the levels of support, the higher the chance to gain intel. The village of De Bala may have new intel indicated by the burning fire. So we're going to go back into this town and see if they have anything new for me.
New intel incoming.
They do indeed.
Taliban spotted.
They know that we have targets right on top of the mountain range. Unfortunately, they are outside the range of any infantry unit nearby, any artillery platform or any helicopter. So we're going to have to do something else. In cases like this, the player can call in an airstrike. So we're going to airstrike these guys. It looks like an F-16 that just flew over. Airstrikes are lethal if successful. You need only to take down an enemy unit. Airstrikes are not available every turn, and once depleted they become available after a number of turns. So the airstrike is now on cooldown for 3 turns. IEDs are favored weapons by the enemy. Militia conduct missions that place IEDs. Not good. We need to make sure that doesn't happen, or my vehicles will not have a safe way to use those roads. In addition, when village's allegiance leans towards the Taliban, booby traps will be placed in close proximity to the village. So this means that it's going to be more difficult for my soldiers to get closer to the town. If they do run into a booby trap, they're going to be wounded. And as the game explained previously, once they're wounded, they're going to be taking, or they're going to be basically incurring political damages or political penalties for me, costing me additional resources. So I want to prevent that if at all possible. Undetected IEDs can be detected from a 2 hex radius and diffused by infantry or the Husky mine clearance vehicle. The Buffalo can diffuse detected IEDs. Now note that there are only a few vehicles that can diffuse detected IEDs. The supply truck can't. So a supply truck basically has one way of IED, and that's blowing it up, which is generally not very good for the supply truck. Select the HQ and purchase a Husky. Reinforcements, get a Husky. We're going to just call this thing the Husky so we know exactly what it is. Some vehicles are mine resistant and have a chance to avoid IED damage. The Husky is always going to avoid damage. The MRAP 60%, Buffalo 50 and the ASV 40. The Husky detects IEDs within 2 hexes and automatically diffuses them. So now we're going to send this thing along the road. Yes, damn it, I now just bought 2. We're going to head east towards the other fob. Right over there.
Moving out.
It's going to be a long drive. There you go, he just blew up some IEDs in the process. And the next part will take part from the FOB over here. Visit Ashin Village and gather intel. Using the infantry garrisoned at the fob. So we're going to de-garrison these, and we're going to tell them to move off.
New intel incoming.
There we go.
Be advised, Taliban
Engage
in
and
the area.
destroy the enemy. I will move to do that.
Solid.
Are you just going to sit there? There's the Husky, there's the infantry coming up. They're probably going to take one more turn to get there. Okay, the Husky made it to safety. And the infantry is now engaging.
Target eliminated.
There we go. Neutralize the enemy. Remember, Taliban units, unless they're destroyed, they retreat. And then they come back with a vengeance. Head back to Ashin to see if the locals have more intel. I don't believe that they do, because there's no burning fire.
Moving out.
There's no happy campfire that we can all sit around and talk about what's going on in the area.
Copy solid. New intel
Yep,
received.
another one. Another enemy group. So, since they're too far, we're just going to strike these guys. Kill. A few more enemies along the mountains. Ensure they don't make it over to Pakistan. Additional units have been made available at the HQ and the FOB. Special Forces have a variety of abilities, making them excellent scouts and precision strike units. Now, we first need to find them, so the SF is probably going to be able to do that. Special Forces are the only unit of infantry that can be offloaded from a helicopter onto a mountain terrain. This is going to be paramount because infantry is just going to have to walk their way up, whereas Special Forces can be dropped off. So that saves you a lot of time. Sniper action only has a small chance of inflicting damage, but will always cause them to retreat and the militia to disband. Special Forces can call in close air support and attack detected enemies. The A-10 airstrike can only be called in once per turn. So even if you have 4 or 5 Special Forces units on these ridges, you can only call in one A-10. They can also set up OPs, results in extended detection, but is a static position, which requires action points. So now, with the Special Forces, we're going to detect a couple of more bad guys. We're going to switch to the next unit. This is the Special Forces group. If possible, I'm going to load these guys up. So we're going to load a unit, and we're going to load up the Special Forces de-garrison. Time to head towards the mountains. Let's say right about there.
Oscar Mike.
Oh wow, you can construct a fob. I very much doubt we can. Yeah, we cannot construct a fob in the mountains, unfortunately. Special Forces offloaded. Now we need to find these guys. Let's get the drone involved. Nothing there. Okay, so the Special Forces are going to start hiking this way.
Taliban spotted.
Got them. Now my airstrike's on cooldown. I don't have anything else that I can do. So what I need to do is just get more guys in here. RTB. We also have another group. Another Delta Company Special Forces. Oh, hang on. See, this is very frustrating. And Slitherin, if you're watching this, please fix this. Because I don't want to select this unit, I want to select something else. Not the Husky, not the Black Hawk. I want to select the FOB, or the base itself. And why that's not possible is just beyond me. See, it's an interesting game. It has such an interesting concept, and then this happens. So that's very unfortunate. HQ. Fuck it, end the turn.
We're taking casualties.
Unfortunately, I forgot about refueling / resupplying those guys, so they are now taking a bit of damage. Now let's get these Special Forces to engage. They only have a 38% chance to win this, but what I can do is call in an airstrike.
Warthog inbound.
The A-10 got them to flee. Didn't actually kill them off.
Copy that. Be advised.
There's a lot more of them. Okay, Special Forces, I need you to load up the SF. I don't need to rename you, I need to disembark or de-garrison. And I want to drop you off there.
Copy that.
Okay. Ooh. Apparently, they can do that too. That's news. They had no idea that they can actually kill or attack enemy or friendly helicopters. Special Forces, it's only a 42% chance to engage, but the sniper shot
Copy that.
might do some damage. There we go. And fortunately, I'm not really destroying them so much as I am
Copy solid.
pissing them off, I think.
Copy that.
Chinook's getting home, so that's a good thing. Let's reinforce. Oh, damn it, I can no longer buy any other reinforcements. Fine.
We're taking casualties.
And unfortunately I have been defeated. Not exactly sure why, because the game refuses to tell me that. But I lost the mission. So, in short, this game, I think it has potential. I think there is still a lot to be done. So, my recommendation for you would be keep an eye on it, but until they iron out stuff like the control issues, where it's very difficult or confusing to select a unit, I wouldn't recommend it yet. And I don't like to say that because I think it's a very interesting game with a very interesting prospect. It is something entirely different from the standard strategy games. But there are just a few, well, frustrating things that are, to an extent, a bit game-breaking. So, I really think it has potential, but it's not quite done yet. So keep an eye on it, but buy at your own discretion. Anyway, that is the long and short on this mission, or this game, Afghanistan 11. Keep an eye on it, it looks interesting, and hopefully they can turn it into a really, really good game. Because I think it has potential, but there's just some stuff that they need to iron out first. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Look forward to seeing those, and thank you for watching. I hope it was useful, and I'll see you soon for more videos.